because I think a lot of us keep ourselves in like an uncomfortable state, thinking that what is on the other side of that discomfort is more discomfort, but it is actually comfort.
A coach, an author, a registered psychotherapist, and a widow. Yes, you heard that. Dealing with pain and anguish of her grief, Ali firmly believes that a death in our community can change everything. Grief Alley is her first book, which focuses exclusively on teaching people how to support their loved ones through the long haul of grief. And today I have an honor to have her on my show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Aly Bird. Hi, Ali. Welcome to my show Unbound. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Mamta. Thank you so much for having me.
It's really gracious of you to have accepted this invite, and we are truly honored to have you here. So, Ali, I'm going to straight away jump in because you come from the other side of the world. We are living in different time zones, different ideologies. Maybe you're 100 years ahead or behind. I don't know, but I would really want to start from the very start. Who is Ali, and
Mm,
what's her journey been like?
ooh. So, I mean, we can start with the present and
Okay.
see where that gets us. So, yeah, my name is Allie. I live in Canada, and I am an author. I am a therapist, and I am also someone who has learned to live with a life changing loss. So, my husband died at the end of 2019, completely unexpectedly, and there was an Allie in the world before Will's death, and there is an Allie in the world after
Hmm.
Will's death. And there are similarities between those two people, but the way they approach life
Mm.
is very, very different. And I used to walk through life in a very like kind of naive and confident way. And now I live with the very true uh yeah, the truth that we all die one day.
Yeah,
And that has a huge influence on my life.
yeah. I have really never had anyone who'd had the guts to really talk about their personal loss or be even authentically facing it. So I'm really looking forward to this episode and seeing that where your journey takes us to the path of inspiration. So tell me a bit about maybe your childhood. What inspired you? How was Ali as a child? What about your parents, your folks? All of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was raised in the countryside. My parents came from a farming family. I have a younger brother and a younger sister, so we are three together. I'm the oldest, and I loved as a kid doing all sorts of creative things. I loved art and performing and singing, and I loved animals, and I loved figure skating.
Oh.
Uh, yes. So my first dream as a child was to be a veterinarian. My second dream as a child was to be a movie star. And my third dream was to go to the Olympics as a figure skater.
Oh, wow. That is some aspiration. No, really. And then how did life begin to unfold for you?
Yeah, as I grew up, I think I did what happens to a lot of people. I kind of fell into the trap of like, oh, your dreams aren't realistic. Like, let's find out what you're good at and, do something more regular that you'll get a good job and you'll have a good life. So I finished high school and decided to study the environmental studies, which was interesting. I've always kind of had this mission of like wanting to help people and help the planet. But I after I ended up doing a master's degree in urban planning, I actually, while I was there, did some public health
Hmm.
courses, and I after that I really fell in love with the idea of how in humans interact with one another, how we
Hmm.
interact with our environments, and the impact that that can have on our well-being. Um, which was kind of laid the foundation of where I ended up today.
Wow. While I understand that there is a deep and a very, very I don't know if I can really uh, call it very solid, but there definitely is a deep impact of a personal loss and uh, kind of making you or catapulting you the way that you are now on your journey. But just before
Mhm.
that, did you ever had any wild idea that you'll start writing or authoring or coaching or mentoring, or of course this bit on connecting with humans, but the
Mhm.
realm that you are today, any vague idea back then?
Yeah, so I actually I had become certified as a coach
Okay.
in 2018. So I was very interested in working with people one-on-one, and the niche that I was working in was helping young people navigate significant life changes. So whether
Oh.
that was, leaving a relationship, moving to a new city, changing jobs, I was learning a language of grief, but I wasn't overtly aware that I was doing it. And I'd also done a lot of personal work, working with coaches, working with therapists, unpacking some of my own experiences that I had been carrying with me since I was a young person. And when Will died, it kind of like opened a box for me and recognized like there I really love this work, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this work at a surface level.
Hmm.
I need to be able to talk to people about the really hard things that are harming them essentially. And
Hmm.
I didn't have the tools that I needed with a coaching background. I needed to go and learn more to be able to work with those people.
All right. So transformation is what we will call it, right? You were already on the transformative journey.
Mhm.
But did is there some sort of a coincidence that you were skewed and inclined to pick this up and then something manifested in life? Like just walk me through this. So you were already doing and laying the foundation to this work before that life-changing event happened to you, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I can't really explain how that happened, and to be very honest, like, I didn't want to be the girl whose husband died, and then she made, like, that part of her life work. I didn't wanna
Hmm.
be, like, that
Hmm.
influencer, widow,
Yeah.
kind of person.
Yeah.
Um, but when it happened, um, it was just like, this this pain, this grieving what feels like kind of like an underworld of everybody is walking around with grief and we are not talking about it and we are not supporting people through it in ways that are productive and meaningful and full of like love and respect that I was like I can't just go back to helping people with like job work, right?
Hmm.
Or
Hmm.
moving to a new city or something. Like I need to be able to have these conversations with people that touch the depths of their hearts and their souls. um but yeah, it's I can't it might be a coincidence, it might be something divine, I'm not
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
um but it has been a very special, maybe coincidental,
Yeah.
experience of getting to where I am.
Yeah. So when you really um, decipher it all and decode it, what do you see? What are the patterns? Why do people want to be in this underworld? Why do they not want to come out and confront and be authentic with what hurts them the most? Why that psychology, or why that human bent to always look good, be good, talk good, put up that face? Why is that so?
I think there's a number of factors that contribute to it, particularly in the Western world. We've moved so far away from a life that acknowledges death that when you do come face to face with it, it is shocking, and you want to get out of the pain that comes with it as fast as possible. So
Hmm.
you don't even acknowledge it. You just move on to, whatever, like drugs, food, working too much, all of that, buying, shopping, any of that can mask the pain that you're feeling. The second one, I think, is just because of that, we've created a culture that doesn't acknowledge the hard things. And to be a person who stands up and says, hey, like, I am not okay, everyone around them kind of just like hushes them, says, like,
Hmm.
oh, no, it's not as bad as you think, or then hands them the tools of like, oh, here are the things that will fix your pain. But grief is not something that can be fixed, right? Grief, experiencing the death of people who are close to us, is not something that we recover from. It is simply something that we learn to carry and to live with. And yes, one day we can blend in with the world
Hmm.
of, oh, everything is fine, like I'm doing well. But there is a period of time where, like, that is your all your energy is being spent trying to to coexist with that pain.
Yeah.
And it takes far more effort to stand up and say, hey, I'm not okay. And there's always a risk in it that people are not going to acknowledge that, like, oh, how do I help you? And instead just try and,
Yeah.
make you quiet.
Yeah, true, 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 true that. I mean, I've had people on this show who've spoken about their journeys with different kind of losses. There was this lady, again from Canada, Indian based in Canada, who spoke about her whole journey with IVF, for example,
Mm,
and that she lost her pregnancy so many times that, eventually, of course, she reconciled with the fact that she was a born parent because she was a born nurturer, but
mm,
how people would just wash over her pain, saying that it's all right, this happens to that person, that happened to that person. I was like, I'm not okay with that, and please don't come and have weather conversations with me, and don't tell me what's going on out there in the world, because I am dealing with this. So yeah, what you're saying does fall in very, very well to that sort of a mindset, if we may call it. So what really is the coping mechanism, and in the whole series of learning the life
mm.
is, and the life has
Yeah.
been for you post this loss, uh, have you seen yourself changing some patterns which have changed forever, like you said that there was an alley before and alley after? So can you distinguish those two alleys for me?
Yeah. There's a couple of things. I think beforehand, I think now I have so much kindness
Hmm.
towards myself. I was very mean to myself before Will died. I was always trying to change my body. I was always trying to be happy. I was always trying to achieve something. And in grief, the biggest lessons that I have learned is that my body is the least interesting thing about me. And nothing, like, this is the suit that will help me survive. And just talking about it gives me chills. Like, this is the vessel that is going to carry me through this,
Yeah.
and this is all I have at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if I am not kind to it, we are not going to survive.
Absolutely.
Um, and I think also the idea that we are so wrapped up in constantly producing and achieving isn't something natural to humans. that has been, you know, bred into us through our culture. It is okay to just be. It is okay to just be who you are and exist as who you are in a moment. You don't always have to be trying to be better, trying to be more good at what you are doing, making more money. I've tried to like really cultivate a practice of self-acceptance and self-acceptance as who I am in this moment. And yes, I will change. I have acknowledged that like changes natural, changes what we are supposed to do, changes what happens when we experience things. But to force myself to try to stay static is not helpful.
Oh my
um,
God, that's a
yeah.
lot of wisdom wrapped in those few words. No, honestly, like, so what you're saying and the way that I'm listening is it's bred into us that we are constantly not good enough. It's
Yes.
bred into us that constantly we either are a failure or we need to push more, and that
Yes.
constantly be something else, someone else, somewhere else, right?
Yeah,
My God,
exactly.
my God. And we don't even, and I mean, it's just like a chance encounter like this that we would talk about it. Otherwise, we don't even
Yeah.
talk about it.
No, or we celebrate it in conversation, right? Like, "How have you been doing?" Like, "What have you been doing?" You know, like, and in those conversations, we don't talk about the hard things that we've been through.
Yeah, that is so true. And again, I mean, I just take this as to be a divine plan always, that it's not a coincidence what I am doing back here in India with my work, my content creation is exactly create relevant conversations. That's the whole underlying effort, is that okay, as communicator, as people, who have that job to do, this is like our bread and butter,
Mhm.
that we are into the sphere of communicating, having conversations. So if we are also not acknowledging and fronting them up, then who will really,
Yes.
and just creating it for brands or for agendas or for campaigns, it's just good talk. It's like lip service and nothing more than that. So very, very interesting. I'm very inspired with this, Ali. Thank you so, so much for doing this. And I'm now going to get into series of a few questions, which is like, have you in all this while been able to identify some of your key strengths?
Mhm.
What are those?
Yes. Yeah. I would say that the strengths that I've developed, like, through these processes aren't necessarily things that I would have considered strengths before Will died, and I think that there are some things that, like, are inherently me, but there are also things that I have worked very hard at becoming good at. And one of them is just bravery,
Hmm.
um, which even saying that out loud feels like a bit, self-absorbed or arrogant, but I know the value in having uncomfortable conversations, and I am willing to have those conversations if it means more comfort on the other side.
Super.
Um, because I think a lot of us keep ourselves in like an uncomfortable state, thinking that what is on the other side of that discomfort is more discomfort, but it is actually comfort.
Absolutely. Well said. Well
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
Very well
Um,
put.
I also think one of my strengths is knowing when I need alone time. I've
Hmm.
learned a lot about myself and what helps me stay balanced. And part of that is acknowledging my limits to human contact. I am a
Hmm.
deep feeler, I am a deep thinker, and I can exist in with people and have a lovely time with them, but if I don't get the space that I need to recuperate and regroup, through quiet time, through spaces where it's just me and maybe my headphones and like a notebook, then I I am not okay.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's important to draw your boundaries. I think it's very, very important to to really respect that space, both for yourself and the other. Very well said and very well captured. So, in that case, have you really been able to go to the depth of your weaknesses, your biggest challenges, fears? I know you've faced many, and some of them maybe you've really rooted them out from your system also, but a few things which still remain as a weakness or a challenge or a fear to you?
Yeah. Um I think I still have a fear of not being liked
Mm,
in some respects. I crave connection and belonging like any other human,
mm-hmm.
and sometimes I will abandon myself um to feel like to feel like I fit in. Not all the time,
Yeah.
and when I'm, with my closest people, I don't do that. But there are still times when I am quite shy. So if I'm in a group of strangers, then I tend to have to think very hard about what it is that I want versus what am I doing to please other people.
Hello, people. I'm not sure about what she just said because we just met exactly 20 minutes back and I don't see a, a drop of shyness in her eyes or wherever. So I'm not going to take that, but we still can take it.
If
She's,
you met me on the street, you'd have a very different impression.
well, I'm then preferring this anytime.
Yeah.
All right. So, in that case, what would be your biggest fear of missing out, like a FOMO, that, oh my God, I don't want to be left out on this part or this aspect of life? Are there any such things?
Um, yeah, I mean, I can get very vulnerable about it. I'm very afraid of dying alone. Um, I I see like all my peers partnered up, and I while I still love someone very deeply and I don't consider myself like a single person, like there
Yeah.
is still like there is a hole in the end of my story. Um and I often like living with grief, it makes you
Hmm.
also consider like your own death and what your own end of life will look like.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
still painting that picture
Yeah.
of what I want it to look like. And I don't want it to be lonely.
Hmm. Honestly, tell me something, Ali. Besides the show, I would want to ask this to you. And we can edit out this section if you want. What's about death? What's about losing? What's about being alone?
What is it about that?
Yeah.
Um I think
Have you ever had this before losing Will?
no, no. I mean, I'd lost grandparents
Mm.
beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
but Will was the first like death that changed everything.
Why?
And I don't think I had an understanding of what it is like to live without something that you want so desperately in your life. Everything else up to Will's death, like there was never a problem I couldn't solve, and there was never something that I really wanted that I couldn't get. Whether it was like the
Mm.
car that I wanted or the job that I wanted or the thing that I could buy, like I had very few needs that were never met.
Mm.
Until Will died and I'm like I want Will
Mm.
and I can't have him. I mean, I can have him in other ways, but I want like his physical presence. I
Mm.
want him I want to be able to like talk to him and have him respond
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in ways that we used to. Um and like that is still a huge, I mean, that's a hole that will kind of exist forever. But there are there are very few things. There's one thing that will touch me in the way that Will touched me, and
Hmm.
that is my dog. Like,
Hmm.
the connection, the bond that we have, it's not the same, but it just it touches a part of me that no one else can really get close to.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that, maybe one day there might be a person,
Hmm.
there are more than 7 billion people on this planet. There must be somebody else that could
Hmm.
touch that, but it scares me a lot that
Hmm.
I might have only gotten that for the short period of time that I
Yeah.
had Will in my life for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And how long were you together really? Like
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
All right. And did you actually knew that you loved him so madly deeply at that time?
Yes. Yes. Grief is dependent on so many factors, internal and external, that challenge our capacity to like be okay again.
Hmm.
Um, so I wholeheartedly believe that if someone receives the kind of care that they truly deserve, when they at just as a human at a basic level, when they are experiencing the death of someone close to them, or any other, loss, type of non-death related loss. Like,
Yeah.
when you receive like unconditional
Love.
love for the state that you are in whatever moment, and you are validated that like this is not okay, you are not okay, but no one tries to like clean it up or like fix you. I think what inevitably happens is that like you can grow around and move forward
Yeah.
more quickly than someone who is asked to, hey, clean yourself up. We don't love you when you are not okay. If you want to be part of,
Ah.
this
Yeah.
community that we have, fix yourself and then you can come hang out with us. Which then that person is asked to either hide their grief, ignore it, um, or face it in isolation.
Yeah.
And in grief, we need community care.
Yeah.
We can't do the work alone. Like, we are attached to each other as human beings. It's part of how we survive. So to ask someone to do that work by themselves is not fair, and we're not
Yeah.
capable of doing it. It will show itself at some time,
Yeah.
and it could be even worse than if we are given the space and the time and the unconditional support
Yeah.
that we deserve when it happens.
Yeah.
Um, I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It does. And again, it takes me back to one. I take it as a prophecy. Sometimes things just appear in your life, and then that is so true for life itself, that there cannot be a bigger than energy than love. And
Mm.
love can actually, literally, absolutely fix everything in life if if
Mhm.
if given from the or taken from the space of unconditionality. And I
Yes.
really, really, really wish that love to manifest from every aspect of your life, so you get that. You are a courageous soul, and you get that faith enough back to be wholehearted with your life and carry it forward with even more love, and love be the way of your existence. Coming almost towards the tail end of the show, this part of the show, which you haven't heard it, but it's called the rapid reflex down. They're just a volley of 4, 5, 7 questions, which you, I'm sure, as an author, will breeze through it because you have to answer. You have to answer it in a word or a sentence. So these are like a rapid fire question answer session. Are you ready for it?
I am ready.
Yeah. All right. So when in doubt, you like to complete the sentence.
Sing.
Never have you ever,
not liked grapefruit.
right? Your favorite food is,
Chips.
your life purpose is,
Mm, caring for others.
one thing you wish parents never said to their children,
You can't do that.
and one thing you wish to change about the education system.
How we teach children about feelings.
All right, love to you is,
A verb.
all right, life to you is,
About connection.
people to you are,
Life giving.
one thing that you do first thing in the morning,
Tell my dog how much I love her.
and one thing you do last thing in the day.
Brush my teeth mindfully.
Well, 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 you have truly come unbound on the show, Ali, and thank you so, so, so much for really being who you are and brightening our day, our life, giving us so many insights, sharing your journey, your joy, your pain, and your life with me. Thank you so much, Ali. I really appreciate this gesture of yours and really, really look forward to so much more ahead.
Oh, thank you so much, Manta. Thank you.
Thanks for inspiring us, Ali.